Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with another episode of the Snowflake Viewpoint, episode 57 with another election report. We'll be highlighting some of the stories taking place around the general election. The date and time is the 3rd of June 2024, just past 8 PM UK time for those who are pre-recording watching this back. And we are dual streaming live on YouTube and Twitch.tv. So hello to everyone on both platforms. Feel free to wave, say hello, don't be shy. Everyone is welcome here. And we have a live YouTube chat poll as well today. I wanted to ask the people on YouTube, will Nigel Farage win the seats in Clacton? Interesting. So far we've had 7 votes and everyone has said no. They don't think that Nigel Farage has a chance of winning. We will come on to Nigel Farage in just a moment, but let's just check on the gang. The gang is here. Did you guys have a good weekend? Yes, Pingu, I'm still working on that hat. He keeps asking about the damn hat. And yeah, Ollie and Cash Dummy, they appear all right as well. I want to say just a couple of things I want to go through with you guys just before we get going. Jao is here. Good to see you, Jao. Hope you're doing well. Rosemary, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Stephen Banker, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I'm surprised you're here. I'm surprised any Scots are going to be here today. I don't expect many to turn up tonight because they'll be watching. I was expecting to watch something else on tonight, but I appreciate your presence, Stephen Banker, nonetheless. So it's good to see you. Joe Lefty is also here as well. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you guys are doing well. Politics channel there as well. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Mad Monk is just snuck in as well. Good to see you guys all. Hope you all had a great weekend. Hope it was all well. And if you haven't, guys, just before we go into the first topic, please check out the premiere videos that I dropped over the weekend on what could be reforms kind of policies and the Conservative kind of policies, sort of manifestos were by the Telegraph. Now we're expecting this week some manifestos to be launched this week by some of the political parties. So if they do come out, this week, then if they do come out this week, I will obviously try to do a video, a premiere video on the weekend where we'll cover the manifesto in details. If not, I've got an analysis piece on the Green Party I could use if the manifestos come out as well. And also another thing as well, tomorrow of course will be, I believe it's the first debate between Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak. That's going to clash right on Max's live stream, so I'm not sure if he's just going to carry on and whatnot. I'm not going to watch it live. What I'm going to do is I'll have a look on Wednesday for a video replay of the full debate. And what we'll do is we're going to live stream it on Wednesday at 12 o'clock, and we're going to we're going to watch the debate in full. I want to watch the debate in full, and I'm going to live stream it for you guys so we can rip it apart piece by piece on what Keir Starmer and what Rishi Sunak says, because I really think it would be very important, I think, for us to do it together. And given that I don't have a live streams going on at the moment at 12 o'clock because there's no PMQs, well, makes sense. I've got something there for you guys. So there's lots happening. So let's dive into it. So Nigel Farage, I'm just going to bring this piece up I wanted to show. So obviously, because of the story coming from Nigel Farage, so he is standing as an MP, and he is now the president and the leader of Reform UK. But I just wanted to highlight this to you guys. So this was on Thursday, 23rd of May, and I covered this in a video. And already I had 4 comments after it was announced. 4 comments. I had 4 comments after he was announced of people telling me that he's standing in Clacton, when clearly they did not see that the date and description of the video was literally 3 days after this article was published. So I've disabled the comments, and I'm not deleting the video. I'm leaving it there, and you can literally read the description on the front where it clearly states that this video was done at least 2 weeks ago. This video was uploaded was 2 weeks ago, but people apparently still have a problem with that. I don't know, but for some reason they wanted to comment on that specific video, which is quite a few weeks old. But there you go. But here it is, guys. So the Tories face an existential risk as Farage declares that he will stand as a candidate for Reform UK. Nigel Farage has declared that he plans to run as a candidate, crushing Tories' hopes of 2 or more major polls, suggesting that the party is facing a wipeout. So why is he doing this? I think there's a number of reasons why he's U-turned. I think first and foremost, and I generally believe this, Piers Morgan ripped him apart on Question Time, and he made him look like an absolute fool. And he was not, like, people were very saying, you're not running as a candidate, you're not the leader of the party, why are you even bothering? Why are you even here? And it made all the sense in the world that he should not be anywhere near the news. And basically, the premise was literally set right there and then from Piers Morgan in front of the world, basically saying, get off the mainstream media, nobody wants to hear what you've got to say, you're not a candidate, you're not a leader of the party, nobody wants to hear from you. And that's all now changed. So not only is he a candidate, he's standing as an MP in Clacton, but he is also now the leader of Reform UK. And I've got to say, though, Richard Tice got proper... I feel like Richard Tice got proper shunned with this as well, because I know Nigel Farage is the overall stakeholder of Reform UK, but Richard Tice has put a lot of his own money into the political party, and he was obviously supposed to be the man to be running it all, and he's literally just got shunned by Nigel Farage. And I generally think that this is because of what Piers Morgan said, what people have been saying about him, and he's like, and I think he's realised, like, I must be kept as the centre of attention. I must have the cameras on me. I must have people talking to me. Therefore, this is what I'm going to do. This is what needs to be done. So this is why I believe he's done the U-turn, because he wants all the attention and everything dumped on him, and that's exactly what's happened. That's exactly what's happened here. Genie Ball, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. So, yeah. So Nigel Farage has declared that he plans to run as a candidate, crushing hopes, as 2 more major polls suggest the party is facing wipeout. So Nigel Farage has electrified the general election campaign, taking over as the leader of Reform UK and launching a bid to become an MP. At first, a reveal by the Independent, Mr Farage will run the Tory-held Clacton in Essex, which has already been described as an existential risk for the Tories. Labour have nowhere near enough when it comes to this seat. I want to big shout out to Big Man Studios, who got a video out on this. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's only about 5 minutes long if you guys get a chance. He did a video after Nigel Farage made his announcement, and he showed the pie graph of what the majority of people are voting. The vast majority are Conservatives. It's very much Conservative strong, and without a shadow of a doubt, Reform have a very good chance of taking a big chunk. But can they take enough to take the seat? Originally, I said no, and then I found out there was an interesting piece. Good evening, Wolfpack. Good to see you there. And Stu Viking President. Good to see you both there. There was an interesting piece where apparently out of all the seats that Nigel Farage has fought, Clacton was the closest one he came to winning. Apparently, I think it was Clacton. I could be wrong, but I think that's one of the reasons why he's also gone for it as well. But I think another reason why he's running again is obviously to stay in the limelight as well. But it's definitely one that Labour will not be pushing too much for. That's for sure. The decision comes as a major blow for Rishi Sunak's electoral hopes. To be honest, I think even if Farage had not stood, it would not make a difference for Sunak's electoral hopes. As a former UKIP leader who has said he would not run to be an MP, confirmed that he had changed his mind and decided to contest the general election. Within hours of the revelation, Tory MPs and candidates were being asked to attend a briefing on an immigration lock pledge, which means a Conservative government will set a legal limit on annual immigration figures. The move was misspelling there, seen as a bid to stop Reform UK and Farage splitting the vote on the right. They've already split the vote. Oh, they're saying split the vote. The vote's already split. Bit humbug there, if I'm honest. Jal says, Farage is the out for opportunities in the middle of the rabble, but I do not think he will win the seat. Given the way people sometimes vote, I have my doubts. I think it'll be split. I don't think he'll win the seat. He'll get a lot of votes, but I don't think he'll win the seat. I hope the dolphin runs in the seat. For those who don't, I hope people know that reference. Mr. Farage's announcements came on a day when two major polls suggested that the Tories were already heading for a historically bad defeat. A YouGov MRP poll of 12,000 people predicted Labour will have the biggest majority in more than 100 years, with 194 of 194 with the Tories marooned on 140 seats. Earlier, a Redfield and Winton poll of 10,000 votes puts Labour's 26 points ahead of Labour on just 20%, suggesting the party could be down to a mere 24 seats. This follows an MRP poll at the weekend suggesting the Conservatives could be down to 66 votes. However, leading pollsters have said the news of Mr. Farage standing as a candidate makes the outlook even worse for the Tories. Polling guru Professor Sir John Curtis described the intervention as important. And whenever Sir John Curtis speaks, everyone should shut up and listen to him, because he knows, if anyone who knows numbers better than anybody, it is without a shadow of a doubt him. Lord Hayward, the Tory peer and top pollster, told The Independent that Mr. Farage's original decision not to stand meant Reform's vote would be much lower than reflected in the polls, and had been the most damaging thing for any single party. Luke Trill from More in Common pollsters tweeted, given that MMRP was prior to Mr. Farage saying he was taking over as leader of Reform UK, and that the Tories losing 186 and holding another 50 by less than 4%, I think it's fair to say that his decision poses an existential risk to the Tory party. Mr. Farage returns as leader of Reform UK, came within promise to serve for 5 years alongside the Conservatives in opposition. The former leader, Richard Stife, will become a party chairman. Explaining his bid to become an MP as first revealed exclusively by The Independent on Monday lunchtime, Mr. Farage... Where's just screen jumping? Mr. Farage said he could not let down millions of people who had supported his past political projects. At what he dubbed an emergency press conference, he added, something is happening out there. There's a rejection of the political class going on in this country in a way that has not been seen in modern times. Conservative Party spokesperson said Nigel Farage risks handing Keir Starmer a blank cheque to rejoin the EU, impose the retirement tax on pensioners, and hike taxes on hard-working Brits up and down the country. I'm glad they kind of put it like that way. Simon says 55. Good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I'm glad they kind of put it down that way. That's a very good way of putting it, the spokesperson. Saying, you're going to bring us back into the EU. You're going to hand everything to Labour. This is all your fault, Nigel. It's another excuse for the Conservatives to say it's the Reform's fault. It's Nigel's fault. It's their fault that we lost. It's not because of our own fault, guys. Farage knows that Reform won't win any seats, but he doesn't seem to care that a vote for Reform only helps Labour. He's doing exactly what Keir Starmer wants him to do. I don't think he cares about Labour and what Keir Starmer wants to do. I think this is also this is definitely about him taking the limelight, taking the spotlight. He's literally taking the spotlight from Reform, and it will boost voters for Reform. But will it get more people out and casting their vote? I think it will. I think some people will actually say, you know what, I'm going to go out and vote now just because Nigel Farage is the leader of Reform UK. I also think that maybe, just maybe, this may not be the end of Reform UK, because I generally thought that after this general election, I was like thinking to myself, yeah, you know, because Nigel Farage wasn't running, I was thinking like they're not gonna be lasting any longer, and I thought, yeah, they're probably just gonna fade into the dust. And then there was obviously that story about Dominic Cummings setting up his own party after the general election. I wonder how that's going to be impacted, if whether or not he's still going to do that or not as well. That's going to be an interesting question as well. Just yesterday, EU insiders openly voiced their expectation that Starmer would seek a softer Brexit deal, opening the door to rejoin the EU altogether. That would mean uncontrolled immigration and betraying the will of the British people. Is Farage really willing to risk undoing his life work by handing Starmer a blank cheque to rejoin the EU? Mr. Farage is taking a risk because he's never won a parliamentary seat after 7 attempts, even though he won the European Parliament national elections as the leader of UKIP and the Brexit Party, now Reform UK. On Monday, he said he had only stood once in earnest at a time when the Conservatives cheated. All the previous times, it was a pressure group to raise the profile of why we learned leaving the EU made no sense when nobody else in Parliament was saying it. That's the other thing as well that just crossed my mind, actually. So obviously there were the things about he really wanted the Conservatives to give him the leadership role, like to take him in, sort of thing. Like, give me the leadership role. I will lead your party, sort of thing. Like he really wanted. I think he really wanted that power, and the Conservatives were saying no, we're not giving it to you. I really think he was saying that, guys. And I think yeah, because the Conservatives flat out were saying no, go away, we don't want you, sort of thing. I think that's another reason. I think that played a factor into it too, because he was talking a lot about like trying to get into the Conservative skin. I think there was a lot of talk behind closed doors between Farage and the Conservatives. I really think there was. He also declared that Labour has already won the election and there is not a contest between Mr. Sunak and Keir Starmer. This is nonsense. I don't accept that this contest is over. This will play into the right's hands. This premise that the election is over, it's not over, guys. Let's be very clear here. This election is not over. We've only just gone, nearly a week and a half, 2 weeks since the election was called. Like, let's be very clear here, yeah? This is not a foregone conclusion. There is still a lot to play for, and Labour need to keep, if the Labour want to keep a good and strong majority, if the people want the Conservatives to get wiped out, they need to keep their feet firmly on the ground. Comments like these from Farage is not going to help. And what's even more infuriating is that I expect Nigel Farage to probably be on every single question time now between now and the end, now and the general election, because they will give him that platform because it's Nigel Farage. Yeah. And he said Reform believes that the current general election campaign is the dullest, most boring election that we have ever seen. I don't accept that in any way, shape or form. And the reason why I don't accept that comment, guys, is because watching Ed Davies slip off a board falling into water, or watching Sunak making stupid comments, or seeing him in dumb pictures, or, you know, him with the song, you know, kind of things can only get better. You know, seeing some of the F-ups that we're seeing from Sunak, that's comedy. Like, you call that boring? There's nothing boring about that. It's funny. You know, he needs a bit of comedy, that's for sure. We think this election needs a bit of gingering up, he added. Well, we didn't want you. By the way, didn't you say you were going to leave the country if Brexit failed? Why haven't you left the country, Mr. Farage? Setting out Reform's longer-term ambitions, Mr. Farage said that he would form the opposition in the next parliament and be the biggest party at the general election in 2029. That is the ambition, simple as that, he added. Yeah, see, this is what they want to do. He wants to fill the void where the Conservatives are going to lose. He's hoping that Reform do gain some seats. He's hoping that Reform will gain some seats. I don't think they will, but he's thinking in his mindset, yeah, perhaps maybe if Reform can gain some seats, perhaps maybe this could all just be ruffle talk, because you have to take anything that guy says as a pinch of salt. Artibus, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. You have to take what he's saying with a massive bucket of salt. I think he's actually, you know what, I'll take it all back. I think he's just saying that, you know what, maybe he's just talk. There's just a lot of talk from Nigel. And he said the party was surprised everyone getting far more votes than 3.5 million won by UKIP in 2015. Now that's nonsense. I don't buy for 1 second that he's going to get 3.9 million votes. And you have to also remember, we have to take voter ID into consideration as well. How much of that of a factor are you playing into it as well? And people start to realise in the red wall with Reform second to Labour, and they start to realise that actually in those seats it's a Conservative vote that's a vote for Labour. It's a Conservative vote that's a wasted vote. And I think we might just surprise everyone. We're appealing to Conservative voters, we are appealing to Labour voters. Responding to the announcement, Liberal Democrat leader Daisy Cooper said the Conservative Party have always become the mirror image of Nigel Farage's Reform. Rishi Sunak's consistent pandering to Reform is horrified former lifelong Conservative voters in the centre ground. Sunak must show some backbone and rule out Farage ever joining the Conservative Party in future, including if he gets elected to be an MP. YouGov MRP polling before Mr Farage's declaration gave the Tories the most optimistic outcome, but still had them facing the worst defeat in their 346-year history. It suggested Labour would have a 194 majority with 422 seats, with the Tories on just 140 and the Lib Dems on 48, boasted by tactical voting campaign revealed by the Independent over the weekend. The result would mean big names including Chancellor Jeremy Hunt, Leader of the House Penny Mordaunt, and Brexiteer Jacob Rees-Mogg would lose their seat. Well, I'll be very happy if Jacob Rees-Mogg was to lose his seat. He still has a lot of support, and they're deeply concerned about immigration, said Reginald on Twitch. Yeah, he does have a lot of support. Let's make no mistake about that. You're absolutely right. He does have that support. There is no question about that. But it's the way you have to think about it. Yeah, is they have a lot of votes everywhere, but the system that we have, the voting system that we've got, doesn't really give them much chance of getting seats, and that's the problem. And you saw even at the local elections, they only gained one council seat. They only gained like one council seat. And yes, I know they're local elections and they're different to general election, but they didn't really make they didn't make a dent at all at the local elections. So you have to remember that, and because of our electoral system, it's not fair at all. I think if we had a more proportional representation of system of some sorts, everyone would be panicking. I think everyone would panic if we had a PR system, but they are still growing though. They are still growing off the back of the Conservatives more than anything. But whether what they'll be after will be lots of questions. Oh, Tom, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Sorry if I missed you there on YouTube. I might be about to sneeze at any moment here, guys. Right. Apologies. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry for the long pause. Oh, I've got another shirt under. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's a bit chilly. But yeah, thanks for your feedback, guys. Appreciate it. Let me carry on reading. But other polls suggested that the result could be even worse. Even before Mr. Farage decided to stand, the Redfield and Winston poll of 10,000 voters put Labour 26 points out of the Tories by 46% to 20%. This could leave the Conservative with a mere 24 seats, and the Director of Research, Philip Kanskalkia, confidently predicted they will get less than 100 seats. Patitucci UK has been predicting less than 100 seats for the Tories for months since the fall of Boris Johnson. Patitucci Chief Executive Michela Mosserito suggested that the Tuesday night head-to-head leaders debate between Mr. Sunak and Keir Starmer might be a last chance for the Prime Minister. It is going to be very important, and I will cover this debate in a separate live stream. I'm going to cover it on a separate live stream. If I can find a video of it, I will cover it in a separate live stream on YouTube on Wednesday for you guys, on a separate live stream to when the Snowflake watched, which we normally cover. She said, in this particular case, I believe that the debate will be useful to consolidate the opinions of those who have already formed their own opinion and have clear ideas about who they vote for. Certainly, even some undecided electors may have clearer ideas after this debate, especially the less informed. But whether this can close the gap is difficult to say now, but above all, difficult to achieve. There are many undecided voters out there, particularly 2019 Tory voters. The Prime Minister's best hope is to try and appeal to them. This means that usually this debate may offer him a chance. It will give him a chance, but whether he will hit things home is another thing. If the Labour open the floodgates to immigration, then reform might be the main opposition. They're not going to open the floodgates. That's just rhetoric talk. That is, I keep hearing that all the time. People. That's just the right wing just jumping on that bandwagon. Really, don't jump on that bandwagon. Really don't. Stu Viking President saying, I know, Simon, I'm not a unionist. I support Scotland Indy too, but I don't live in Scotland. I have friends. Well, I'm English, but I want I want Scotland to be able to decide their own future. So and if the democratic will of the Scottish people want to have another Indy vote, then they should be entitled to another Indy vote, and it should not be up to Westminster to decide that. That's always been my position. And it's not my place as an Englishman to in my place to decide whether they should be part of the union or not. It should be their choice to make that decision. That's democracy for me. Unrelated, did you know you can fly to New York from Edinburgh now? I did not know that. Very interesting. Scotland can get into the single market as they are a smaller country when they become independent. Says Stu Viking president. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely lots of opportunities down the road for them once they gain independence. But some will have to silent and discreetly issue regulations equivalent to the EU standards and have less friction in trade. Says Zhao. The party in a whole, I mean, says Stu. What's that? Do you think Labour are pro-EU? I don't think Labour are fully pro-EU. I don't think they are fully pro-EU. I don't think they are. I think there's some that are still like that. They may be secretly, but they're not going to say it publicly. They just can't. They just can't say that, to be fair. But yeah, he's not. We're going to be talking more about Farage, I'm afraid, guys. I don't want to cover him. I really want. I'm not going to always cover articles and stories on Farage, but I will have to cover some every now and then. So I do apologise in advance. But I am asking again, guys. Will Nigel Farage win his seat in Clacton? So far, 15 people have cast their votes. 20% say yes, 8% say no. So some of you think he will pull off the upset. It is entirely possible that he may pull it off. That is for sure. Stephen Baker says, I'm not anti-English. I'm anti-Westminster, London rule. Independence till... independence. Why is it not coming up? Till we are free. That I will fight on. And that's exactly how I feel. And Stephen Baker, that's exactly how I feel about... the Israel is with what's happening in Israel. I don't have anything against Israeli people or Jews, but I really do despise their government and the way they're handling things in terms of the situation in Gaza. And that's the exact same premise I have. So, but thank you guys for your comments. Let's move away from Nigel Farage to this fascinating exclusive here from another from the Independent. So we're going back to the Independent, but this one, ooh, what's this? What's this? A Labour candidate is being investigated by the party for alleged sexual harassment. So Darren Rodwell, Labour's candidate for Barking, has been accused of inappropriate touching of a female attendee at an event last month. Now, these are very serious allegations, so I think it would be in Labour's best interest. So this is obviously this was only a few hours ago that this dropped. So I would not be surprised if Labour decide to drop him as a candidate. There is time for him to replace him, and I think it would be in Labour's best interest to do so. Even if the allegations are false, it's not worth taking the risk, especially if you want to guarantee as many seats as you possibly can. I think it's better if they drop him. Even if the allegation is proved to be false, I think they should just drop him because they have the opportunity to do so. Stephen Moran, good to see you there, buddy. Good morning in your part of the world. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Yeah, let's read a bit more into this concerning story here for Labour. So, a Labour candidate for a seat in East London is being investigated over an allegation of sexual harassment. The councillor Darren Rodwell, the leader of Barking and Daventry Council and Labour's parliamentary candidate for Barking, has been accused of inappropriate touching of an attendee at an event last month. The Independent has seen the details of the allegation made to Labour's complaints unit by a member of the party on Friday. It came after another Labour MP was suspended from the party last week after a complaint about his behaviour. So Labour are fully aware of this. They are aware of this allegation. Now, is it worth him staying in his position? Is the question we need to ask ourselves. Is this worth the risk? Even if he's popular in Barking, this allegation is something that will be run home non-stop on him. That is for sure. Mr. Rodwell's alleged victim said she met him for a coffee while at an event, believing the meeting was set up to discuss a development in Barking. In the communication to the party, the complaint said after 10 to 15 minutes, he started asking personal questions, which I was not happy to answer. He was ordering more drinks for himself. As I was obviously not happy to be present, I was looking for a way to leave. He started touching my hands and legs in a sexual way. He clearly had other ideas about the meeting, touched my legs and body inappropriately. I made it clear to him that I did not want him to touch me, and I left the meeting immediately. The complaint file reads that the complaint had received Complainant had received confirmation that an investigator will be contacting her in regards to the allegations. Labour have declined to comment on what it called an ongoing disciplinary matter. However, the allegations now raise questions over whether Mr Rodwell will still be allowed to stand in the election. Last week, the former Brighton Kempton MP Lloyd Russell Moyd was suspended by the party over historic allegations and prevented him from standing as a candidate. In a statement responding to the allegations, Mr Rodwell said, "Allegations regarding my behaviour have been made to the Labour Party complaint unit. I utterly refuse what has been said. Specifically, I have not engaged in sexual harassment of any kind. I did not indulge in inappropriate touching of an attendee at an event last month. I have no recollection of meeting someone for a coffee to discuss development in Barking. There is no evidence of any such meetings in my diary. Likewise, I have no recollection of asking personal questions." So, unless there is some evidence to back this up, it could be just some woman coming forward making the claim. It's entirely possible that could be a case. We have to stress her allegation. So, is there like any witnesses that can testify her allegation as well? And he said, this is he's saying that he has no recollection of the meeting. He had no such meeting in the diary. Never met the person, sort of thing. So, is he telling the truth? Is he not? That's the question. He went on to say, "It's not clear what drinks I was ordering." He had no record. So now he's saying it. So okay, now he's just making things difficult now. But for the record, I do not drink alcohol. It is inconceivable that I would have touched someone's hands, legs, or bodies inappropriately. I can only imagine that I am a victim of some sort of attempt to prevent me being selected as a Labour's parliamentary candidate for Barking. I'm prepared to fully address this complaint. I'm in the process of consulting lawyers, and I would ask it to be expedited so that my candidacy can proceed. Well, the problem is, mate, as the problem is that even if they are allegations, it's not going to go away, and the timing is just on the eve of the candidacies are being selected. Labour are taking a risk here. There's no guarantee he will. I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably Barking's probably a Labour stronghold. But I don't think it's a given the allegations. I believe the people of Barking deserve an MP who knows the constituency well and will properly look after and promise their interests. I look forward to serving them should I be successful. Should you be successful? That's the key word there. Mr Rodwell is hoping to replace Labour veteran Dame Margaret Hulsh as the MP for Barking. Yeah, so it is a Labour stronghold. But there's still no guarantee he's going to get it. He is highly influential local government figure in London who has been praised for delivering more new housing than any other borough. He has attended football matches for Sir Keir Starmer and led the generation of Barking and Dagenham following the closure of the Ford factory. This includes bringing in a film studio, a university campus and a free pool. The investigation emerged at the same time as BBC report claiming Mr Rodwell asked police not to respond if they were contacted by residents he was planning to confirm at their home. Mr Rodwell claimed that he used official systems to find the address of a person who had threatened him online. When I found out where the person lived, he told the podcast, because I have ways and means, so I used them. My office phoned the police up and said the leader wants to let you know. Don't worry if you don't get a call from this address. It is unclear if he ended up confronting the person at their home, and the incident was prompted by a Facebook group set up in 2022, which they said was aimed to have me taken out. Mr Rodwell was also recounted how in a separate incident he chased two men down the streets with a baseball bat after they attacked his home. Last week it emerged Mr Rodwell had claimed there was a smear campaign against him regarding historic footage of him making allegedly racist remarks. The incident in 2019 saw him joke that he had the worst tan possible for a black man at a Black History Month event in London Borough. When the clip emerged in October 2022, he apologised and admitted his remarks were extremely stupid and embarrassing. But in an email to a supporter revealed by The Independent last week, he said, "What I can tell you is that it was part of a smear campaign against me." Mr Rodwell was also criticised for hanging banners over gravestones in Barking when he launched his parliamentary campaign last October. What? Oh my. You hanged banners over gravestones. What on earth is wrong with you? Hanging banners over gravestones. I'm sorry. Labour set a deadline of 4 p.m. 4th of June to finalise candidates with nominations officially closing at 4 p.m. on the 7th of June for candidates to be officially registered. So Labour are saying they're going to be done by tomorrow, according to this. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, you're hanging. Like, what is this? What the f is that? What the f is that? Sorry, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, he's got problems. He's got problems, that's for sure. Yeah, he shouldn't be selected. I'm just going to say this now. I don't think he should be selected. Yes, it's an allegation, but like there's a few little things in here and there popping up here, and it's entirely possible these could be all orchestrated. Are we going to say every single one of these are orchestrated? Not really going to buy that, if I'm honest, guys. Not really going to buy that, but yeah, that's just not sitting well with me, if I'm honest, guys. It really is not. Yeah, I mean, the guy, I don't think it's worth the risk for Labour. I think they should drop him. I think they should get another candidate in. That's my personal opinion. He may be a good candidate. He may be in good interest, but there seems to be baggage there that I don't think is worth the hassle for them. I'm just going to come to you guys' chat in a second, just asking the YouTube live chat. Poll, will Nigel Farage win the seat in Clacton? 17 people have cast their votes. 82% of you say no. 18% of you say yes. So thank you guys for casting your vote so far. If you haven't already cast your vote, make sure you do so. It's completely free to do so. When there are too many excuses for issues, he claims there are smear campaign. I have my doubts about his integrity, and in doubt, don't stand. This is exactly. This is what I'm thinking as well. I think he should stand in the hour Herbalese, says Duke fucking president. Run, walk, or crawl. Politicians are running in an area. Will walk around trying to convince the public they're not cruel, says Genie Bottle. They always say, I'm innocent. I thought somewhere in North Yorkshire might be nice, but of course I won't be visiting my constituency on the basis I live 10,000 miles away, but that doesn't seem to matter these days, says Steve McMorran. Yeah, you are quite a bit far away from your constituency, Steve, unfortunately. It's always good to see you, buddy. Stephen Baker says, Labour have let the British public down. I honestly do not understand or where they get lost being an opposition party and a party of the people. Scotland deserves better, as does England and Wales. Yeah, I agree. I agree, you know, that there's been quite a few, there's obviously been a lot of talk about some of the Labour candidates. And like I said, after this deadline on the 7th, when this deadline comes through, there's going to be a lot of dirt coming out on candidates. There will be a lot of dirt coming out on candidates because they will not be able to put a replacement in. Billy Kershaw, good to see you, buddy, there. Didn't see you there. Hope you're doing well. Everyone, I'd just like to announce that I will stand for Parliament in July. Everyone else is, so why not me, says Steve. Well, you have my vote, Steve, if you are standing. Send us the link on the Discord, and we'll definitely give you our full backing and blessing. Jal says, as a foreigner, I just think administrative acts by Westminster cannot topple the will of the Scottish and the democratic elected people, says Jal there as well. Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys, for your feedback and comments. Much appreciated, as always. Guys, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. Doing all any of those things, guys, really makes a massive difference. These ways improves the algorithm for this live stream and any of my videos. If you watch videos longer than normally do, it also helps boost the algorithm as well. So doing any of those things, guys, really does make a massive difference. So I want to say thank you to everyone who's done any of all those things, guys, because it really does help. So if you cannot support me financially, that's one of the best ways to do is support me in a non-financial way. Hitting the like button, sharing this across social media, leaving feedback and comments down below really does help, guys. It's not just me who's grateful. It's Pingu, Cash Dummy, and Ollie there. They are always appreciative. Oh, the lava lamp is formed quite well already. Lava lamp is quite formed. You can't really see it too well because of the lighting. I need to get a different light or something. Maybe I should... You know what? Let me know, guys. Chat. Would you like me to put the lava lamp in the future where the orb is and put the orb where the lava lamp is? Should I give that a try next live stream? Let me know what you guys think about that. Interesting. That is for sure. So the next topic I've got for you guys. I wish they wouldn't talk about this, but I have to talk about this. And it's from Sky News. Transgender athletes may have to compete with their biological sex under Tories' proposed shake-up of Inequalities Act, says Kemi Badenoch. The shake-up of the Equalities Act could result in transgender women being barred from female-only spaces, was mooted by Equalities Minister Kemi Badenoch earlier this year. Why can't they leave trans people the fuck alone? Like, honestly, why are they doing this? I just cannot, for the life of me, understand why this has to be a topic. This whole culture war bullshit. I'm serious. I'm really so fed up of this. Trying to make something out of nothing is what they're doing, and I know some people don't like him, but seriously, shout out to Graham Hughes and Labour Social for calling this bullshit out whenever he gets the opportunity to do so, and he does a great job of doing it. I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of this. Leave it alone. Seriously, leave it alone. Like, there no consultation whatsoever with trans communities, with non-binary communities, with other genders whatsoever. No conversation with them. They just want to stir shit up. That's what they want to do. I'm so fucking sick of this. I really am. I apologise for my language, but I am so sick and tired of this crap. And I hope Kemi Badenoch gets the absolute booting at this general election. I really hope so, because she's a vile woman. And this just really pisses me off. It's not right, guys. It's not. To be talking about this when it's just not it's not a discussion for me. It's just not right, guys. I know it's not. Transgender athletes may have to compete alongside biological sex under the Conservative plans to clarify equality laws, Kemi Badenoch has said. Why? I just feel like they are punishing people just for the sake of them because they are different. That's how I generally feel. I just feel like they need to punish people just because they've chosen to change who they once was. I just feel like it's a punishment on people just because they are choosing to be something different than what they felt they was. The cabinet minister told Sky News her party was not giving instructions to different sporting bodies, but rather making it very clear what the law is, that there is a difference between identifying as a different gender and what your biological sex is. As part of their latest election offer, the Tories last night pledged to change the Equalities Act to define the protected characteristic of sex as biological sex. In the past, critics have accused the Conservatives of seeking to stoke divisions and demonise transgender people in the search for votes, with concerns raised about what this could mean for sports and access to female sports only. This is exactly what they are doing. They are stoking divisions. That's what this is all about. This is all about stoking division. That's all what this is about. Yeah? That's what all this is about. Yeah? We don't talk about, what the trans people go through. Yeah? They don't get a say in any of this. They don't get to be put in this conversation at all. The government, these people in government who have no idea what it's like for some of them to go through what they go through, and they think they can just go and make these decisions and not think at all about the consequences of others whatsoever with this. They seriously do not give a damn. They really don't. And they're just trying to appeal to some hatred and far right people who think there's some problem with those who are choosing to change their sex, or choosing to be in love with the same sex, or choosing to be non-binary, or whatever their choices want to be. And they can't handle that. They can't handle that some people just want to be different. Asked what the law would mean in practice for transgender athletes, Ms. Badenoch said it would not bar them from competing, but in some cases they may have to compete with their biological sex. And she said, we believe that sports is something where there are sex categories for a specific reason. People compete in women's sports because they're biological women, not because they identify as a woman. It is the sporting bodies that be able to manage that. Who the fuck are you to decide that? You haven't even talked yet to the communities whatsoever. You shouldn't be talking about this at all when you haven't even had that decision. Daily Blase, good to see you there, my friend. Apologise for the swearing, guys, but it's yeah. This is like Here's the thing, guys. Like before I carry on, right? Like I've talked about this in the past, guys, and you know, yeah, how much I really am so careful not to upset people and try to walk a fine line of trying to understand where the government is coming from, try to understand where, especially when it comes to schools, try to understand where people, where the line is, because I really, really want to make sure that when I talk about a topic as sensitive as this, I want to make sure that I am trying to be as balanced as I possibly can on this subject. But it really angers me when people talk about this when they have no idea what it's like. I mean, I'm just a guy on YouTube talking about this subject, of course, yeah? So my words here will not make a difference in terms of government action. But these are people in positions of power here, talking about transgender, talking about women, people, about this, something which is very sensitive, very important for this community, right? And they've not had a single discussion with these communities, and are just making these decisions. And that's just really upsets me. Joe Lefty says it will backfire when trans men have to play in the female categories. I just for me, it's just like, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Ask which toilets the government intends for transgender people to use. Ms. Badenoch says, we have not said that transgender people can't use specific toilets. What we have said is that they must provide toilets for single sexes as well. And if you provide for all, that is a genuine conclusion. This sort of conclusion that people are doing is actually exclusive to women. Yeah, you just want to ban trans women from women's toilets. The Equalities Act states that an individual must not be discriminated against on the basis of their sex. Ms. Badenoch, the Women and Equalities Minister, stressed the reforms would not be a change, but rather re-emphasise what should be the status quo. So PC on trans golfer hated after tournament win. I'm not going to click the video, but I'm just saying, like certain sports. Like, to me, there are certain sports where the sex should not even be a factor into it, if I'm honest. Terry Regan, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Sex and gender were used interchangeably, she said. What we are doing is making sure people understand what the law is, says. We've seen a lot of problems with people misinterpreting the law. Challenged about why the government hasn't already made the change if it was such a big problem, Ms. Badenoch said the biggest reason was because the SNP's controversial gender recognition legislation took up quite a lot of bandwidth. Ms. Badenoch first mooted the idea in April last year after writing to Parliament's Human Rights Watchdog for advice about it. At the time, LGBTQ plus charity Stonewall said the proposed risk yet opening another chapter in a manufactured cultural war that will see little benefit for women, CIS and trans alike. Labour said it would not amend the Equalities Act if elected because there are already provisions to protect single-sex spaces, so the government's plans are not needed. And I'm glad that they said that. Speaking to the Times Radio, the Shadow Defence Secretary John Henley said, what is needed is clear guidance for service providers from NHS to sports bodies and in prisons on what single-sex exemptions need to be. The best way to do that is in guidance, not primary legislation. The Lib Dems accused the Tories of waging phony culture wars, while Lee Anderson, the former deputy chairman turned reform candidate, called it madness. Lee Anderson called it madness. Hold on. Back up a second. Lee Anderson is in agreement with the common sense people here. I'm going to read that again just for clarification, right? Lee Anderson, the formerly deputy chairman turned reform candidate, called it madness. Maybe he's not as stupid as we thought. Announcing the pledge last night, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said the safety of women and girls is too important to allow current confusion around definitions of sex and gender to persist. What the hell do you know about it? Ms Badenoch, who has spoken frequently in the Commons on the issue, said the change in the law needs to occur because public bodies are now acting out of fear of being accused of transphobia. The Conservatives said the proposed change to the law will not remove the existing and continuous protections against discrimination on the basis of gender reassignment, providing the Equalities Act. The sex of those with a gender recognition certificate will still align with their acquired gender in law outside the Equalities Act for exemptions, marriage law and the status quo. Under proposed schemes, the Conservatives will also establish in law that gender recognition is a reserved matter, as they said this would mean that an individual can only have one sex in the eyes of the law in the United Kingdom. We need to make sure they do not get into power at this general election. I know it's very clear that the polls obviously say that. I swear to God, if they get in power, I feel like a part of me feels like they can say this anyway because they know they're on their way out. But the fact that they are just trying to even Lee Anderson, he said it right at the start before this election, long before this election, that this would be a battle on culture wars. And there it is, the culture war. And don't be surprised, do not be surprised if you start seeing Nigel Farage stoking culture war tensions. We know he already stokes it with immigration. Don't be surprised if he starts stoking it as well, from him as well. But, for me, leave it as it is. We have a law in place. Should there be tweaks and maybe amendments? Yes, but if there is going to be any, it must involve all the communities involved. You have to include the LGBT communities in this. Not having them in the conversation is just fucking outrageous. I'm sorry, it is. It's absolutely outrageous that they're even talking about this and not even having discussions with some of the most minority of communities out there. It's just not right, guys. Just asking, guys, if you haven't already cast your vote, please cast your vote in the live YouTube chat poll. Asking, will Nigel Farage win his seat in Clacton? 18 people cast their votes so far. 83% of you say no. 17% of you think he will pull off the upset. Let's see what you guys have got to say in the chat. Simon says 55. The only change to worry about is climate change. So Simon says 55. Yep, that is one of the things. Terry Regan says there's 2 unisex toilets in a vegan restaurant in Plymouth where I live, and it's not there's nothing wrong with that. That's some people can just be real fusspots over nothing. Jal says most bathrooms here in cafes and restaurants are unisex, one for public and one for the staff, says Jal. Yeah, it's just a cubicle. Do your business, and that's it. What? It's a mountain out of a molehill, really. For those who are referencing, that's in Portugal, Jal's saying, obviously. Bathrooms are more and more unisex because it's simpler, cheaper, and less issue, he says there. Jeannie Bottle says, trans planes coaches all have one universal toilet, same as festivals. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, if anyone knows madness, it's Lee Anderson, says Steve. Yeah, he is mad. Everyone in life all ready for a unisex toilet. We all have one at home, says Stephen Banker. Oh no, the humanity. Boxing was done by match weights, not many sports are, says Jeannie Bottle. I'm not going to say that, what Jal said on that one. In a boxing, man will have an advantage over women, for example, but as for football, for exemptions, have you seen some of those women run? Says Jal. He also says, to me, simple solutions are the better solutions. An end division of gender in sports will end a lot of issues if done where it can be done. Yeah, I agree with that. There is no evidence that trans athletes enjoy any advantage. There you go. No evidence. And everyone's just saying good evening to Daily Bloods, eh? Yeah. Let's break up the talk of that. I apologize for swearing, guys. You guys know I don't normally like to swear and rant, but I really had to get off my chest on that topic because I don't like talking about it. I really don't, because it's not something that I generally do need to have like a live stream with a trans person to have to learn and have a better understanding. I definitely would like to do one at some point on the live stream. Obviously, with the elections, probably not the ideal time, but maybe after, to have one on so that like I can learn from a trans person what it's like to learn from their shoes and their life experiences of what they go through, and what myself and others can learn from them, and how we can better help their communities better for the future. I would like to do something like that in the future, hopefully. But let's break things up, guys. Let's have a little bit of fun here, because we need some comedy after that. What better person than Liz Truss here, or Liv Trust, for the totally normal interview here. This is a totally normal interview from Liz Truss. What could possibly go wrong?
The worst people in the world? Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa. I mean, look at their outlooks. Who's the best person? Donald Trump, Maggie Thatcher, Hannibal Lecter and Dirty Den. I mean, they mean business. Who's the worst Prime Minister? Tony Blair. Look, he created the Equality Act, the Human Rights Act, the Climate Change Act. I mean, who wouldn't agree? I mean, what did they form? The woke people. Are you sure it was Tony who brought in those policies? Well, whoever it was, Tony gets everywhere. He annoys me. He did start the war, though. You look a bit tired. What? No, I'm fine. It's everyone else who's tired. Tired of the woke. People say you're not doing so well. Look, it's them. They're mad. I'm someone who delivers and doesn't change my mind. Brexit is the best. Whose fault is it then? I've got a list. We don't have time for that. Oh, fine. The deep state. They're out to get me, and they're coming for you, so watch out. Pork markets! Liz, are you okay?
Cheese. Cheese.
Liz?
Oh, poor Liz Truss. No, I have no sympathy whatsoever for Liz Truss, but yeah, that is Liz Truss in a totally, completely normal interview there. Definitely went, I think that job interview went very, very well for her there. I think it went better than I think most people would have expected, if I'm honest, guys. Joe Lefty Boater, oh my God, I've got to stop saying Lefty Boater. Joe Lefty, sorry, with the 199 super chat saying for the swear jar. Thank you. You didn't need to do that super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. I've not had much. I've not had much, unfortunately, the last several days in terms of super chats and memberships. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that. Just before we go to the next one, which is, I'm really looking forward to talking about this topic here, because this gives me optimism. But just before I do, I'm just going to read this comment from Stephen Banker. Says, I know it's a sensitive subject, but there are very few openly, I hate using the label, trans followers on Max's channel. Maybe you could reach out to them, maybe. I was actually thinking more along the lines of, I was thinking maybe I would actually, I think I'd actually might reach out to Graham actually, because he has a very safe space for trans people on his community. So I may reach out to Graham and talk to him about having me on for one of their shows to educate me more specifically, because I do want to have a bit of want to be educated more on this in all seriousness, guys. But thank you for the comment nonetheless, guys. Yes, so this next one, guys, let's switch gears now, guys. So this one is from The Guardian with the headline of "The Lib Dems vowed to abolish the use of voter ID at polling stations." Yes. Someone has said it. Someone has said it. I cannot believe a party has said this. Now, I don't know what Labour's position is on voter ID, but hallelujah. Thank you, Liberal Democrats. For me, there was only two things that you'd have to do with voter ID. You either you make it, you give everyone a free ID card of some sorts so they're able to vote at future elections, or B, you abolish it altogether. And Lib Dems are going to want to abolish it, and I'm very glad that they've got this policy. It's just a shame that, as of right now, I don't know where Labour stand on this policy. But I really, really hope that this comes to pass. I don't think it will. I think we're going to be stuck with voter ID forever. But I love the fact that the Lib Dems are out here saying, yeah, we're going to get rid of voter ID. We think it's a crap idea. We should get rid of it. So, does it mean I'm going to give my vote to Ed Davies? No, because in my constituency, it's a Labour stronghold, so it's not really going to make much of a difference. But this will appeal to a lot of younger voters as well. If you think about it as well, there's a lot of young voters, obviously, who are turning away from the Lib Dems and whatnot and turning to Green. So I do like the thought that it will win off a lot of younger voters. Ruth, that was not you did not need to give super chat just because people haven't been doing much lately. Honestly, you didn't need to. Honestly, I appreciate. Thank you for the £5 super chat. Just tuned in to you pressing the guilt button, you bugger. You didn't have to. Honestly, Ruth, it's good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. You honestly didn't have to. It's fine. Yeah, most of the Scots are watching a debate at the moment, so that's why it's not as many here. But those who are, appreciate them and appreciate you, so it's all good. But just coming back to this subject, obviously, guys, I really do think that this on the doorsteps, this will appeal to a lot of younger voters, and this may bring some younger voters back to the Liberal Democrats, because a lot of people obviously are looking at the Greens at the moment as a new alternative to the Lib Dems. But this is a very good appealing policy. This will appeal to people. If they shout enough about this, I think they could get quite a few votes with this. So the Liberal Democrats are calling for the abomination, or shall I say, the destruction of voter ID at polling stations, describing the policy as part of a Tory war of the younger generation. The Lib Dems said that their election manifesto will lead the charge to ditch the policy in the next parliament because it's costly, unnecessary, it's addressing a problem that does not exist and makes it harder, for young people to vote. Under rules first introduced by the Tory government, apologies if I'm burping, it's the water. In May, first introduced by the Tory government in May 2023, people eligible to vote have to produce some form of voter ID to cast their ballot, including in general election, by-election, local elections, and police and crime commissioner elections. Acceptable forms of ID including passport, driving licence, travel cards for the 60 age plus group, including 60 plus Oyster cards used to travel in London, but Oyster cards for young people are not allowed. Answers on a postcard. Why? I don't know. Leading to accusations that the elderly, who are more likely to vote Tory, were being favoured. The changes were being brought in to stamp out what the Conservative government claimed was an alarming level of voter fraud. Despite this claim, a number of offences or suspected offences have been shown to be tiny. A large number of people have either been put off voting or have been turned away at polling stations, having been unaware of the rules. Last year, the former Tory Cabinet Minister Jacob Rees-Mogg said the plan had backfired on the Conservatives because many older people were the ones most often caught out without the correct ID. The Lib Dem deputy leader, Daisy Cooper, said, "We oppose the introduction of voter ID at every stage in the Commons and the law, so we will be leading the charge to scrap it after the general election." The statistics speak for themselves. After the last general election, there were only about 33 allegations of impersonation out of tens of millions of people votes cast. Jacob Rees-Mogg had to admit it had backfired. She said that in that context of other announcements that the Tories had made in the last few days, whether it was plans to reintroduce national service or scrap rip-off university degrees, it all add up to a war on young people to stop and using young people as a political football in a desperate attempt to shore up their votes going into the election. The government's own assessment that the cost of introducing the voter ID policy is putting the total as high as £120 million over a decade. Lib Dems said this could pay for 1,800 NHS talking therapy courses to treat those with mental health problems. Yeah, we can put that money to somewhere else. Instead, we're wasting it on voter ID. Yeah, so that's just it's just a small one there, but I will say, obviously, I'm totally in favour of it. Whether whether it will come to pass is nothing, but well, only time will tell. But this is a good policy from the Lib Dems, and I'm very happy to hear it. I really hope we hear this from the Labour Party. Hopefully, someone will ask the Greens on this as well. I'm curious to know where they stand on that as well, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So this next one, guys, is also from The Guardian. The headline is UK election debates must make climate crisis a key issue, says Green groups. So campaigners have written to broadcasters expressing concern that climate is not a more prominent discussion topic. So the Green groups, not specifically just the Green Party, but Green groups out in general, are basically saying, why are we not having a debate on climate with political parties? And if you can see there, guys, in that picture there, you can see that the back in 2019, Channel 4 2019 had an election debate on climate, and Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson did not attend it. But you can see there Nicola Sturgeon, Jeremy Corbyn, Joe Swinson, and I have to say I think a climate debate is really important. Now, do I expect a climate debate to be called? I don't think so. Do I expect Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer to attend it? No, I do not expect them to attend it. It would be great. What I generally would like, and I think this would be a great idea, if they really want to do a climate debate. If you can't get the leaders on board, at least have the get Ed Miliband for representing Labour, and the current Environment Secretary for the Conservatives on board. Get them in the seats, and get them on the panel to discuss this, at least. And then obviously if the Lib Dem leader wants to step in, they can step. If the leaders themselves want to step in. I don't see any reason why we can't have this debate. I think it's perfectly reasonable to do so. I think it's really important. I think it's really important to people. Number 3, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. We all should have world passports, travel by foot or water where we all live, says Genie Bottle. Yes, we should. We should do. The ice guest, says Stu. Yeah, he was in a fridge at the time, Boris. But let's read a bit more into this, guys. So, the climate crisis must be discussed as a key priority in the TV debates between Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, says Green groups. A number of NGOs have written to the TV news network expecting to host the live debates, the first of which is on Tuesday at 9 p.m. on ITV. Support for climate action remains overwhelmingly high among all demographics of the UK public, says the letter. As broadcasters, you have a duty to ensure that general election coverage reflects the public's desire to see strong and serious leadership on climate and nature recovery and a genuine debate about the solutions. They ask for the subject to be examined in detail in the context of the campaign. We ask you to make a commitment to ensure that the main parties plan to meet our legal, climate and nature targets are properly examined during the course of this campaign and communicated to the public, the group wrote. Green campaigners are concerned that the climate is not a more prominent item for discussion as parties gear up for vote on July the 4th. The problem is that while, yes, the climate is a major issue and we should be discussing it, the problem is most people in this country, while they do agree that there is an issue, we have a cost of living crisis. We have a broken NHS system. And we have councils and public services that are run down, going bust. And right now there are people who have to choose between heating and eating, and as much as those people, I'm sure they do care about the climate, they want to know what's going to be what's going to be done to help them. We have a lot of people in poverty, destitute poverty as well, and this is something like, while I completely understand why climate needs to be talked about, I think what we need to hear more actions about what's going to be done. Those who are in poverty, those who are in benefits, those who need to be getting on their feet. I think it's just as big as a topic that's not being talked about enough, because we seem to be screaming around the whole immigration crap again. And I think that's just as big as an issue as climate is. And I did a video on climate on Sunday, and it hasn't even got 10 views, guys. So climate is not something people want to talk about, which is a shame. It's just something that I don't think people want to talk enough about. It should be talked about more, but it's just not something people want to talk enough about. How does Jacob Rees-Mogg vote? He only has an engraving of himself, says Steve McMahon. Hira Khan Erogan, a co-director of the climate charity Possible, which coordinates the letter, says, "Where is the climate in this election? It's a top 5 issue for the public, but you wouldn't think it when you listen to our party leaders. We need leading broadcasters to get campaigns away from gas and infighting on the real issues. Climate solutions can bring down bills, bring up qualities of life, and bring the country together, so let's have a conversation about it." During the 2019 election campaign, a long-hour debate amongst the leaders of all the UK's main party was hosted by Channel 4. Boris Johnson, who was then Prime Minister and bidding for re-election, failed to turn up, and his place was taken by a large and slowly melting lump of ice. Nigel Farage was the only other political party to skip the 2019 debate, in which Jeremy Corbyn of Labour, Joe Swinson of the Liberal Democrats, Nicola Sturgeon of the Scottish National Party, and Shin Berry of the Green Party, and Adam Price of Clive Cymru took part. And fair play for them all to taking part, because it's very important debate. Smaller parties are already concerned that in this election they are being squeezed out of the broadcasting coverage, with the first debate at least scheduled to be just a head-to-head between Sunak and Starmer in a style of US presidential election debate. A High Court ruling in 2019 found that broadcasters would not breach their impartiality rules by doing so. The civil society groups signing the letter, which was sent to broadcasters on Friday, were Possible, Green Alliance, World Wildlife Fund, Greenpeace UK, the RSSB, the National Trust, the Wildlife Trust, Hope for the Future, the Climate Coalition, and Wildlife and Countryside Link. A BBC spokesperson has said, "More than ever, the BBC is putting the audience at the centre of our election coverage. We will ask the questions they want us to ask and report on the issues that matter to them. We are committed to covering a range of topics across our briefing of our output, including the environment and climate. We will provide analysis for each of the parties' plans should they be elected. Furthermore, it's not uncommon for campaigns to seek further coverage for the causes they champion." Yes, but we're talking about climate here. We're talking about a planet that kind of really matters, that we need to look after because we all live on it. Just saying. So yeah, that does kind of matter, if I'm honest. So yeah, I'd like to think that they'll be talking about it, guys, if I'm honest. But my concern is that they will have it on the topic of discussion. I generally think they will have it on the topic of discussion, but it'll be like the last 10 minutes or 5 minutes of something where they're already too busy bickering with one another. Sunak and Keir Starmer, I can just see them bickering like in the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes of the debate, and then the host is like trying to get a climate question in, and you only get maybe a small short statement or something from them, and that'll be about it. You won't have a proper debate on it. That's what I think will happen, but I think it is something we need to talk more about. But hopefully the plug-in of my video on the climate may cause some of you guys maybe to go and check it out. But but I can understand it if you've got other videos to look at as well. Sorry. People aren't getting a clear message from the government about it, says Ruth. Yeah, the government doesn't help with it. Terry Regan says climate is very important and it should be talked about more often. 100% agree. What mode of transport did the sir use to travel to Scotland? He went by private plane, Ruth. Thank you for reminding us of that. Let's not forget that. Mother Nature will not be forgiving, says Stephen Banker. No, she will not. She will be very angry. So blog users are wax stamps, says Solari the Cat. Okay. Everyone's saying hello to number 3. Spaffer sent the gropers to attend it in its place, but you got told your name is not down, so you're not coming in, says Sir Larry. Good to see you, Sir Larry, by the way, if I didn't say hello earlier. Yeah, so, yeah, never. Guys, I'm going to end the poll after the next article asking whether will Nigel Farage win his seat in Clacton. So 21 of you cast your vote so far. Make sure you cast your vote and have your say as well in the poll. So 81% of you say no, 19% of you say yes. So make sure you do cast your vote, have your say. Remember, it's completely free to do so. So this next one I've got for you guys, I've got to really zoom in. I've got to make sure I don't miss the paragraphs here. This one is from an exclusive from iNews, an interesting one here. So Labour are to ban lawsuits that silence the press in Russian oligarch crackdown. David Lammy will claim 14 years of Tory government will leave the UK dangerously exposed to crypto. I can't say that word. You know, I've been asked to try and say this word. Cryptocracy, or crypto something. Go on, you can laugh at me. And international corruption. Now we expect. Now we know the Conservatives have ties to Russian oligarchs. There are links to Russians of some sorts. Whether they're directly or indirectly to the Russian government, we honestly don't know. We can only speculate. There have obviously been stories and whatnot of them. Now, as far as I'm aware, I have not heard anything that links the Labour Party to any kind of Russian oligarchs or Russian government or any kind of association with Russian officials or anything like of the sorts. So to hear this is not really a surprise, but they say they're going to do this. The question is, are they going to do this? Is another thing. Now, I really would like more stomping out of Russian oligarchs here in London, because I feel like they are trying to buy more influence, and I don't want them buying influence within the Labour Party. I think we already know they've had influence in the Conservatives. Whether they will or not remains to be seen, but it's going to be. I do hope Labour are going to crack down on the Russian oligarchs in all seriousness. So wealthy individuals, including Russian oligarchs, will be banned from bringing spurious lawsuits to silent journalists and campaigners if Labour wins power, David Lammy has said. So in an interview with the Eye, the Shadow Foreign Secretary says a ban on so-called slap orders would form part of Labour's strategy to shut down the London laundromat of dirty money in the UK. The algorithm slap was conned in the US and stands for strategic litigation against public participation. It refers to legal claims which are perceived to be bought in order to gag critics by engaging them in costly litigation, rather than because of their legal merit. So on Tuesday, Lammy will claim that the Conservative Party has enabled Russian individual sanctions since Vladimir Putin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine to pursue legal cases against the very people trying to uncover corruption. In recent years, scrutiny of wealthy individuals by journalists and campaigners have been regularly stigmatized by threats of litigation, particularly by Russian oligarchs. Mr. Lammy says, we've really got to stop this happening. They are stifling effectively not just the rule of law and freedom of speech, but particularly going to journalists doing their jobs to throw a spotlight and transparency on the most egregious behaviour of oligarchies, plutocracies and very corrupt individuals doing bad things. Last year, the Conservative government backed a private member's bill that would have banned slaps, but did not reach the statute book before the general election was called. So Labour here have a 6-point plan to clamp down on Russian dirty money. This is what they've announced that they will do. Host a summit of allies and international financial centres to launch a sustained initiative to tackle dirty money. Take a global leadership role of tackling enablers of that word by ensuring the UK sanctions regimes target enablers and launch a new whistleblower reward scheme. Take action to stop UK trusts from being used to litigate activity by widening registration requirements with an action plan to bring in full transparency around trust ownership in UK property. I feel like there's something on my... Sorry, it's been bothering me. Trust ownership on UK property. Use Britain's diplomatic leverage to push for the creation of an international anti-corruption court to prosecute the most egregious acts of international corruption. Develop a clear time-bound action in government working with the UK overseas territories and Crown dependencies and to bring them all into full compliance with the transparency requirement. Eliminate the use of slap lawsuits by oligarchs who use their wealth to gag people from asking legitimate questions. The bill has been put forward by Labour MP Wayne David, stated that slaps were spreading beyond the Russian oligarchs, Putin's allies, into new crimes, including victims of sexual harassment, being silenced by their abusers, and other misconduct such as landlords using heavy-handed tactics to mute tenants suffering in their homes. However, Law Society said it was concerned about the bill's workability and potential unintended consequences and argued that it should include an objective test to define a slap case and significant redrafting in what is defined to be in the public interest. Mr. Lammy said he would be very happy to work with the Law Society and in fact the Law Commissions, which is less very good work when it comes to assisting the government to get the wording right. The announcement on Mr. Slaps will come alongside more detail on Mr. Lammy's plan to kick out the kleptocrats and close the London laundromat if Labour wins power. He will claim that 14 years of Conservative government have left the UK dangerously exposed to kleptocracy and international corruption, particularly from Russia. In April, the Deputy Foreign Secretary Andrew Mitchell confirmed that almost 40% of the world's dirtiest money is laundered in London and the UK's overseas territories and Crown dependencies. The National Crime Agency estimates more than 100 billion is laundered in the UK annually, higher than the UK's annual defence budget. Londongrad, as we like to say. Despite the government taking action against 140 Putin supervisors since Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, there have been no convictions for sanctions evasions in the UK since 2009. Labour vowed to reinforce critical Russian sanctions, which Mr. Lammy claims are currently being openly flouted. He said, under the Conservative Party, the cricket actors in our capital have turned into London laundromats. Billions are now laundered into the UK by Britain's enemies and dangerous criminals alike. This is fueling crime on British streets, runaway house prices, and severe Kremlin threats. We must stand up for ourselves and the rule of law. It's time to kick out the... I can't say that word. You know I can't say that word, guys. Satu, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Mr. Lammy added that Britain's role in an international money laundering centre was raised with him on his recent visit to Washington, D.C. Our security partners see us not only failing, but too often enabling Russian kleptocrats, said it, to grow stronger on the Russian state to access components used by its war machine. Money laundering prosecutors in the UK declined by 44% between 2011 and 2023, and convictions by 42%. Mr. Lammy said that Labour would champion the City of London and our professions, but added, our competitiveness depends on our reputation for higher standards, and when we fail to uphold them, this has enormous consequences. I'm going to leave it there. I would read the rest, but just on the issue of time, guys, just because of how long we've been going. We've been going on for an hour and a half. But it's this 6-point plan does sound good. Whether it will actually, they'll put it into action is another thing. I hope they will put it into action. Is my honest hope. I honestly hope they do put it into action, these 6-point plan. I hope that be interesting to read up. To read when the Labour manifesto comes out on what specifics as well and other things as well. But just on this, I think they're saying the right things, which is good stuff. You know, on Labour. You know, I really hope that they do work with international partners to clamp down on this more and get more of this dirty money that we have in Londongrad as they call it, out of the UK, and for the better, because they're having too much influence in the UK, and we need to untangle and unravel the influence that they have on politicians, on media, and all sorts of people within the UK, or specifically England, to be fair, guys. So I just want to say before we go to the last article, thank you to everyone who's cast their votes in the live YouTube chat poll. 22 people have cast their votes, asking will Nigel Farage win his seat in Clacton. 81% of you say no, 18% of you say yes. So thank you all for casting your votes on that. How are you guys doing? What's that, Ollie? Okay. Ollie's a lot happier because some people were very generous today. So Ollie would like to thank Joe Lefty and Ruth for their very kind super chats today. So Ollie's decided to smile and say thank you guys for that. It's greatly appreciated from Ollie there. Pingu just says, "Where's my hat?" That's all that Pingu cares about. He won't shut up about the hat. Let's just see what you guys are saying in chat before we go to the last article. I was here since the beginning, but I didn't chat. No one noticed me. You've been lurking. That's all right. No worries. I hope you're doing well in all seriousness. Cameron is working for Starmart. Oh, nice, says Stu Viking present. I knew Ollie was running things from the background. These tentacles reach everywhere, says Steve. Yeah, he does. They reach out. They reach out far and wide. They definitely do. Is there work for us? Not them and business mates, says Jeannie Bottle. Ending shares interest in business should be a rule in politics. No possible way to exploit positions, says Jeannie Bottle as well. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, just sever the ties. Just cut the loophole. Cut away any loopholes and everything. It just makes, the logic is there. This is like locking up your doors after inviting the robbers to live in your living room, says Zhao. Zhao, could not 100% more agree with that. Well said. Most of these Russians have already have their money in the UK or in physical parodies that are using brand new black UK passports. That is not blue, says Zhao. They all need scrutiny for any funding. Why, who, and when, says Jeannie Bottle as well. Will Russian assets actually be seized? Most of Knightsbridge is owned by the Russians, says Solari the Cat. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Plenty of Israel links, Labour links to Israel privately healthcare though. I know there's Labour ties to Israel. I know that, but I wasn't aware of the private healthcare, Wolf Pet. I wasn't aware of that. I've not heard anything about that. Number 3 says kleptocracy, as in trying to help me spell that word that I couldn't spell. Kleptocracy. I've still got it wrong. I know I don't. Do you know Tory Clacton and it's right for Farage to exploit their stupidity, says Solari the Cat. We were discussing it at the start of the live stream, Solari. You missed most of the talk on it. I'm afraid. But yeah, we were discussing quite a bit of it, to be fair there. Penguin, devious character, says Solari the Cat. Yep, apparently Pingu is very devious. That just before I go to the final piece, guys, I just wanted to say, guys, if you haven't already, please consider becoming a YouTube member. Being a YouTube member really does financially support me in the work that I do here. We have 2 levels of YouTube membership on here if you want to consider financially supporting me at either 99p a month or $2.99 a month. Just by joining for 99p, it may not sound like a lot of money, but it really does make a massive difference to the work that I do here on the channel. In doing so, you get access to custom emojis, which those in the live chat get to use. There's some of me, and there's some of the orb, the lava lamp, and Ollie, Pingu, and Cash Dummy that are there that they get to use. So you can get to use them whenever I do premieres or live streams in the chat. Also, as a YouTube member, whenever you comment on any of my videos, I always respond back to you, whether it is on any videos, on any of my videos on YouTube. If you comment on any of them, I always respond to you as well. So those are some of the perks you get for being a YouTube member. If you're a $2.99 member, which some of the lovely people here are here in the live chat, they get early access to content. So after this live stream, guys, I'm going to be making it available to you members before it comes out. The content comes out for the next 2 days. So if you guys don't want to go straight to bed after this live stream, I will make the videos ready for the Snowflake Corporals. So yes, members get early access to content before it's published as well. So I want to say massive thank you to everyone who's been a YouTube member, whether it is being a long-term member, those who've joined, who have gifted memberships. It really makes a massive difference. So thanks to everyone who's done so. If you want to financially support me in other ways, you can do so by buying me a coffee. A link is in the description. Or as someone joined Patreon recently as well, you could do so by joining Patreon. By joining Patreon, guys, you get access to exclusive content on Patreon behind the paywall. So you get access to that. There is also free content on Patreon and on Rumble for people to see as well. That's outside here on YouTube. So if you guys want to see additional content, you can check out both those, and links are those in the description. So thank you to everyone there. Not on Discord. Not tonight, Steam Banker. There will be a... we're doing the after chats are now going to be on Wednesdays. So I'm going to be doing an after chat on Wednesday nights now. The Discord, what's the Discord server? Discord server is in link for that is in down below. It's a community that we have. It's completely free to join. It's like a social media. It's a social media community. I wasn't familiar with it myself, Terry, when I first joined it about 4 or 5 years ago, and now I have my own server. It takes a while to get used to, but it's completely free to join. If you want to give it a try, you're more than welcome to. Link is in the description if you want to give it a try for yourself. But yeah, we have our own community. If you're welcome to join us there. But thanks guys for your questions. Much appreciate it. So the last one, like I said, this one is from Byline Times. Another Labour one, guys. So another left-wing Labour hopeful has been blocked as senior union figures speak out against his selection controversy. So another left-wing Labour hopeful has been blocked here. Now this is obviously worrying because Byline Times obviously are one. How do I put this? They're very, very good at being down the middle when it comes to their news. I know a lot of people call them left wing. I don't agree with that. I think they are more centre than a bit more centre than left wing. But I know some people will say that anyway. But Brian McDavid said he was barred from running for Labour for a 12-year-old Facebook post about Israel-Palestine before he was an active member. So this is why he was dismissed. Yeah, over a 12-year-old Facebook post about Israel-Palestine before he was even an active member. Okay, this is why he's been blocked as running. The front-runner to be Labour's candidate for a Yorkshire seat believed he was blocked from being the candidate despite being backed by his local party because of a 12-year-old Facebook post about Palestine. Brian McDavid, who is Deputy General Secretary of the financial service union AGUS, voiced his frustration over the Labour Party selection process after being blocked by the National Executive Committee, the NEC, at the end of April as the candidate for Skipton and Ripton. McDavid has shed new light on his opaque and centralised nature of candidate selection as anger grows in the party over the treatment of individuals like Fraser Shugan, a left-wing candidate who was barred from standing by the party's NEC just after the elections was called, despite coming a close second to senior Conservative Ian Duncan-Smith MP in the Chilford and Woodford Green seat in 2019. McDowell said he was called to a virtual meeting with several members of Labour's NEC in late April, where he was immediately presented with a 2012 Facebook post of his branding Israel a rogue state over his actions in Palestine and condemning numerous acts of barbary, war crimes and atrocities by the country's military during its long-standing running Israel-Palestine conflict. See, this really just like no, Stephen Baker, thanks for popping by, much appreciated. This really grinds my gears, guys. Like, we're talking about a post back in 2012 that they pulled up on him. Like, why now? Why are they pulling this up now? And why are they pulling this up now? It's just so irritating, guys. It's really, really irritating. The union's leadership figure insists the post, which we've all shared, which we shared in full below for context, was not anti-Semitic, but instead pointing out to factual statements about the actions of the country's governments and military. Descriptions of murder by Israeli forces in the post may be contested by the Israeli government, but most claims appear to be based on verified news stories. The rush selection process ahead of what is believed to be a snap general election coming in May was devolved of local input, McDavid says. My local constituency Labour Party said to the regional party probably about a year ago, look, we've got a candidate, we're willing to campaign with him. And then the regional office said it's down to the NEC. After that, our chair was trying desperately to get some form of process in place. Even after he put his formal application in January, there was radio silence for months. McDavid added the local party heard almost nothing until this April, he said. Then suddenly there was a burst of activity. When he was finally called for an interview, it was very rushed and unprofessional, he recounted. It was booked over teams for 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock came, nothing. Then at 11:20, the NEC panel came on. There were 5 or 6 of them. There was no introduction. They were straight in. Can you explain this post? Wow. How rude. Like, not even saying hello or anything. I recognise this post shared 12 years ago. Before I was an active member, it was difficult to remember, but I said it was factual. Like anything I share on social media, I ensure that it was fact-checked, double-checked, and triple-checked. I asked what was the allegation against me here, and they couldn't say. They thanked me for response and left the meeting. Wow. 2 days later, the regional Labour Party director called a meeting saying, fortunately, the national executive decided not to take your application forward, and that was it. He asked to find out what his appeal process was, but has not heard back since then. McDade described himself as a socialist, says the process suggested to him that there is a purge in the party of left-wing candidates. Well, it certainly looks that way from his story here. He points to the contrast with NEC figures being parachuted into safe seats, including Labour's right figure Luke Arness, who has been chosen as the party's candidate in North Durham. There is now a crowdfunding campaign to oppose his nomination, led by pro-Palestine activists. Labour have now selected the candidate for Skipton and Ripton, Malcolm Busks. McDowell holds no ill feelings against him, but he believes the process was overly top-down and factual. Lots of people have contacted me saying they've been put in the same position, the union activists have said. Despite the setback, McDowell remains committed to his community and activism. I will continue to serve as a town councillor and campaign on crucial issues like mental health, public service and child poverty. But bruised by the experience, he will not be out of the campaigning during the general election. It's nothing to do with our CLP, who I have great respect and pride for. It's all down to how I've been treated by the NEC and the Central Party, McDay said. He's now calling for a consistent and transparent process on selections within the Labour Party. Commenting on Labour's widely selection controversy, Neil Lawson, director of the Progress Group Compass, told Byline Times, Labour seem to have got more than it bargained for last week in the row over the attempts to exclude Diane Abbott and Fraser Shingers as candidates. Hopefully the widespread backlash to these factional moves should draw a line under the whole saga. Labour must recognise that it needs this diversity and pluralism in government to have any chance of weathering the political storm that will hit as soon as it enters government. Lawson was himself suspended from the party's NEC over his alleged support for tactical voting for other parties to unseat the Conservatives. The Labour Party was contacted for comment regarding McDane's selection. I just want to. I don't want to just read that bit. I just want to read this. What he actually said. So, is this right? This is the face. So this is the 2012 Facebook post that he was barred over. So this is what apparently he stated that got him kicked. Yeah. In case anyone dares to question the Palestine protest, please use any of these points. Which country in the Middle East has undeclared biological and chemical capabilities? Which country in the Middle East has no outside inspections? Which country in the Middle East jailed its nuclear whistleblowers for 18 years? Which country in the Middle East has blatantly ignored UN resolutions for 60 years and continues to do so? Which country in the Middle East breaks international treaties on use of expanding ammunition? Which country in the Middle East has substantially developed nuclear, biological and chemical weapons? Which country in the Middle East persistently flouts the Geneva Conventions by routinely abusing the human rights of other citizens in the Middle East? Which country in the Middle East routinely contravenes the basic principles of international humanitarian law regarding the military targeting civilians and the subsequent denial of independent medical access to those casualties? Which country in the Middle East refuses to accept the will, criticism and condemnation of the global community for its ruthless violence and military aggression against the Palestinians? Which country in the Middle East uses disproportionately military aggression to suppress a sizable internal ethnic majority? And which country in the Middle East deprives the same people access to water, power, employment, freedom of movement and food? This was a post he made in 2012. Simply asking the questions there. Where is this? Oh, it also says which country in the Middle East is responsible for numerous acts of barbary, war crimes, and atrocities included there. It does go on a bit longer, actually. There's loads of bullet points there as well. But the link for the article is in the description if you guys want to have a look yourself. Just because we're coming up nearly 2 hours, and obviously last time we did, guys, the OBS crash. So we don't want to. Hopefully we can get to the before we wrap things up, guys. I've got one funny video for you guys before we wrap things up. I will come back to you guys in the chat in just a moment, but I have not listened to this one, and I'm very excited to listen to this one. This is a very funny one, guys. This is from Michael Spicer here. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel as well. And this is entitled "The Room Next Door, Rishi Sunak and the Eye Roller." Take it away, guys.
The Treasury tot up all the spending commitments that they've made.
Okay, this is a good start. I mean, he still looks like he's on the verge of crying, but...
£2,000.
Can we sort of close the circle so it looks like there's more than 8 people there? I mean, I've seen more people surround a dropped coin.
I don't need to tell you we live in perhaps the most dangerous and uncertain...
Whoa, wait a minute. What is that woman doing? Oh, my God, she's pouting. She's pulling a pouty face.
North Korea, China...
No, she's reacting. She's reacting to things that are being said. Stop her.
Take our borders.
She's twisting now. She's disdainfully oscillating. Someone get out there and stop her.
We're the ones that have put a bold plan on the table, the Rwanda scheme.
Get off Rwanda for a minute. You'll make it worse.
Because we've got to make it crystal clear that if you come to our country illegally, you won't be able to stay.
Oh, my God, look at that face. How is she able to convey everything that's wrong with the Rwanda scheme just by curving her top lip?
Can stop people coming here in the first place.
Steve, it's me. Where are you? Why are you crouching behind the digger? Yes, I know these things are really embarrassing, but I want you to get out there right now. We've got an eye roller.
And with your support, I would be delighted to deliver it for you. Thanks very much.
Don't use your phone, you useless mouse. Just go and block her.
Right. OK, we're going to open it up to some questions.
That's not blocking someone. That's standing next to them.
Integrate back into society after they've completed...
I can still see her. She's on the back of his shoulder like she's in a baby carrier. Move her crop... Oh.
And I know there's lots of vets here.
Get back behind the digger, you absolute sandwich.
Gosh. I hear a lot of apprenticeships and then also...
Right now, see this? See how I'm standing in front of you right now? Yes, this is called blocking. Now get out there and make sure that the only thing the eye roller sees is the back of your f***ing V-neck.
Pitch to you would be, we're making a...
Oh, thank God. At least now we can have a sensible and intelligent Q&A. Right, who's next?
Next, who have we got? GB News.
Oh, that was really good. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Michael Spicer with I hope he does a few more of them before the general election. I want him to do one with Sunak and Keir Starmer on the election debate. Please, Michael, please do one for that. He's really, really good stuff there. I hope you guys enjoyed that funny video. So guys, just a quick reminder, just before you guys head out, just a reminder of what the plan is here on the channel. So I'm not doing 3 videos a day. I'm sticking back to 2. 3 was just too much convoluted. I may or may not do some videos outside of the general election. I might not. It depends. Because the thing is, last week I oversaturated the channel and it really did hurt the viewing numbers. So I'm not going to do that again. Tomorrow at 6 o'clock, we have another World's News Round. So feel free and come and join me in the premiere chat for that. And then obviously, I'm assuming Max is going live normal, even though the debate is, even though there's going to be an electoral debate tomorrow night as well. Also, I'm going to be planning. Keep an eye out, guys. So if you guys have got nothing planned on Wednesday, if you happen to not be working and you're chilling and whatever at home, 12 o'clock, I may or may not. I'm 90% sure I'm going to cover it. I'm going to watch the full debate on a live stream for you guys. So keep an eye out for when I have that. So I'll be doing 2 live streams potentially on Wednesday night. And then Wednesday evening, we'll be doing the Snowflake Watch, of course, which will be us reacting to clips and whatnot online on what's been happening with the election and other stuff as well. Thursday, we'll be back with Regan's News Round. It will be back as a premiere, not a live stream. I'm going to be doing that back, reverting it back to the premiere like it was before. And then Friday, of course, there'll be the Snowflakes Corner. There may be 1 or 2 videos or live streams maybe added whatsoever, depending on how things go as well. On the weekend, I'm going to try and do at least maybe 1 or 2 premieres on Saturday and Sunday, respectively. Maybe on depending on hopefully the manifestos come out, because I really want to dive deep into them as well as when they come out as well. So, guys, thank you all for your comments. Thank you again, Ruth and Joe Lefty, for both your super chats. Much appreciated. It really does make a massive difference. £7 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it really does make a big difference, guys. So thank you for those super chats. Greatly appreciated. And thank you guys for coming along. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for those who are members as well. Greatly appreciated. No after chats on Discord, but on Wednesday we will have one, guys. So So be sure to come and hang out there, and we'll chat then as well. I'm just going to have a quick look in the chat to see everyone's saying, to see anything else I've missed. No, I don't think I missed anything. But yeah, Zhao is a good moderator. He is. He does long paragraphs on some of my videos. He does. So thank you for the moderators who've been here. Zhao, Mad Monk, you guys greatly appreciate it. But just before you guys head out, it's just one thing I need you guys to do. No, that's not. It's say goodbye to the gang. The gang are here. They want to say goodbye. Ollie, Cash Dummy, and Pingu, say hello. There you go. He's saying hello. There. Cash Dummy is there as well. So, just before you go, guys, I need you to just do one more thing. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.